China's coordination and India's double danger, a storm that is quietly getting closer. Imagine. It's 2 in the night, the world is asleep. But a strange movement begins in the international markets. Among the flickering red and green lines on these screens, a pattern begins to emerge, something that ordinary people may never notice. But there are some who keep their eyes fixed even on the smallest change. They know that this game of numbers can change the fate of millions in the coming months. Something exactly like this happened when an Indian economist opened his screen during these silent hours of the night to observe the global economy. And what he saw terrified him. He picked up his phone, took a deep breath, and said, "A threat is rising in front of India. A threat whose footsteps we cannot hear. But China can. And not just here, China is already working on it." Silence filled the room. That was the moment when Sajid Chinoy's warning was no longer just an economic suggestion for India, but a national alarm. The world is slowly moving away from globalization. A world that once worked through buying each other's goods is now building barriers. Developed economies, which were once the strongest supporters of free trade, are now stepping back from this cycle themselves. This shift is not merely an economic policy change, it is a turning point that will reshape the world's power balance. And in this changing world, countries like India will have to walk the toughest path. Because India's economy does not run only on domestic consumption, it also depends heavily on export-led growth. And now that very export model is in danger. But this danger is not coming from just one side. It is surrounding India from two sides. On one side, China's export wave is spreading like a flood. And on the other, AI and automation are swallowing jobs. This double threat is something that is not easy to understand. And escaping from it is even harder. China has been the king of manufacturing for many decades. But when the United States built a massive wall of high tariffs in their path of that king, Sajid Chinoy says the flow of Chinese exports stopped in one direction and began spreading in many others. In countries across the world, especially in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, Chinese goods started spreading the way a river overflows after hitting a dam, flooding the nearby villages. This flood wasn't just a flood of goods, it was an economic tsunami. And the strongest wave of this tsunami was moving toward India. Chinese products suddenly began appearing in India's shops, markets, and warehouses, cheap, attractive, and surprisingly high quality. India's local manufacturers are unable to bear the pressure of these aggressive prices. India now has to protect its domestic industry and also increase its exports at a time when global trade is slowing down. The problem is coming from two sides, and on both sides, China is playing its moves. But the story doesn't end there. The world isn't just moving toward de-globalisation, it is rushing toward automation and AI. Earlier, China's low-cost manufacturing was a challenge for India. Now, China's high-tech manufacturing, robots, automation, and AI-driven production are shaking the foundation of India's jobs. Earlier, factories used to employ thousands of workers. Today, machines silently stand behind glass walls and do the SAM work in minutes. Where once 100 people operated machines, now the SAM machines complete production under the supervision of just 4 or 5 engineers. This new global manufacturing style is capital intensive. It needs money, not manpower. And for a country like India, where millions of young people look for jobs every year, surviving in such a model becomes even more difficult. Sajid Chinoy says that Taiwan is the biggest example of this model. Taiwan didn't just adopt the AI revolution, it created it. The GPUs, servers, and AI chips that America, Europe, and the world's tech giants run on are produced by Taiwanese companies. Taiwan's exports have grown by 33%. But its people are not happy because this growth didn't reach their pockets. Private consumption increased by less than 1%. GDP went up, but people's lives remain the same. The government had to transfer cash directly to citizens just to keep them included in the economy. This is a frightening example. Because if India joins the race of making or using AI, the world may say great growth. But the real question is, who will benefit from this growth? The machines? The robots? Or India's 1.4 billion people? China is pulling global markets toward itself by dumping its surplus production. In India, the current situation is that Chinese factories are producing cheap goods. With AI and automation, their costs are falling even further. Meanwhile, India is trying to provide jobs to its young population. But the global market is not giving us enough space. We are standing on an economic battlefield where on one side is the wall of skill, on another side is the tech tsunami, and from behind comes China's price attack. This is the moment when either India will aggressively reform its industrial policies, or it may get trapped in a silent crisis in the coming decade. Chinoy says that India will remain one of the world's youngest nations for the next 15 years. This is our biggest advantage. But this advantage is also our biggest pressure. If millions of youth do not get employment, the entire growth narrative will collapse. Jobs will not come only from services. They must come from manufacturing and tech as well. But manufacturing is no longer labor-intensive. It has become machine-intensive. The world is making mobile phones with robotic arms, designing chips with AI, and assembling cars in automated plants. In such a situation, India needs a new model. A model that carries both traditional jobs and advanced jobs together. India has two powerful assets: a large market and a large population. If India shields domestic manufacturing properly, improves quality, and becomes a strong alternative in global supply chains, this rising wave will not pull India down. But if we take it lightly, China's exports will eat into many Indian industries. Sectors like textiles, electronics, steel, chemicals, toys, and machinery face the biggest threat. At such a time, India must play both defensively and offensively. On one side, it must protect industries through tariffs and safeguard measures. And on the other, it must create future jobs through high technology investments. The whole world is excited about AI. Startups are booming. Silicon Valley is shaping the future. Investors are pouring in millions of dollars. But Sajid Chinoy says that for developing countries, this excitement is the biggest fear. Because AI does not create jobs, AI replaces jobs. For developed countries, this is great because their populations are aging and their workforce is shrinking. They need machines. But for countries like India, where nearly 15 million new young people enter the workforce every year, this trend could be dangerous. This is why India is facing a double threat. First, China's exports are spreading like lightning and shocking our industries. Second, AI and automation are turning global factories manpower-free. This double blow is hitting India at a time when we need maximum growth.
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources: news from various news agencies, opinion polls, and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.